It'll be something.
I I
Cool.
appreciate it. Thank you. I
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
want to see that. I just have to run.
No problem. All right,
Okay.
Val. Take care. Cool. So select, again, returns an array containing all of the elements. So whereas detect only returns one element, the first element that returns true, select returns all of the elements that evaluate to true. So first, dropping into IRB. Let's go into IRB real quick. So we can do something like myArray.select, and then again, passing in each individual number, num.even. So for each element where num.even is true, then that particular num will be part of the new array. So we can see here, we get an array of 4 and 6, and 1 is excluded because 1 is not even. And then if we were to do num.odd, we get a single element array of 1 because 1 is the only odd number. If we go to our example of the people, find all under 60. So we're going to call select. And I'm going to change the age of this person to 40. And then we're going to call find all under 60. So again, we're iterating over people, checking each person, checking the age of each individual person. And anytime this evaluates to true, then that entire person object will be included in the new array. Or I call it person object, but person hash. So what is my return value going to be when I call this method? Any guesses?
It should return the array containing the two hashes of Ashley 40 and Daisy 59.
Excellent. Yep. And it's really an array. Whenever you put an array, that's how it normally gets output. But this is really an array of two hashes. And yeah, because two of them satisfy that condition of the age being under 60, then those hashes get included in the new array when you use select. So while detect returns the first element that returns to true, select returns all the elements that evaluate to true. So that's one way you can use each method. And again, this is a real world example. Let's say you had an app where you wanted to filter people by age. Then you can create different methods that select based off of certain criteria. And then you would have two different methods, something like find all under 60, find all under 20, and so you can find all, and then, find, all like the newborns, where find all under 1, where the age is 0, something like that. So
are you able to use this, for example, to say you wanted to go in and clean up a database, for example? Would you be able to use something like this to go in with a regular expression and trim out the fat, whatever you wanted to get rid of?
Yeah.
I mean, is this something that this could be used for?
Yeah, you can definitely use it for that purpose. If you want to filter out, let's say you had, each person had an email, that's whatever at email.com. But let's say that a certain person didn't have an email field for whatever reason, and that value was nil. Then what you can do is you can select all the people where email is equal to nil. This will give you an array. So you can do something like people with nil emails is equal to that. And then now you have this array of people with nil emails where you can iterate over each of those people. And then it would be like person.delete, whatever method, whatever database you're working with, you can do something like that where you iterate over each of those people with the nil emails, and then you delete them from the database. So that would be an example of how you would do that. Cool. Any more questions regarding detect or select? Cool.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so because you added this new variable, it's going to put those people into that, right? It's going to create a separate, because you said it pushes out the whatever it finds, it pushes into a new array. But because you created a variable saying that people.select would be put into that variable, is that what's happening right there?
Exactly. So if we were to, I'm going to stop putzing that out. And here I'm going to put people with nil emails. So I'll put that out. I'm going to, for now, comment this out. And then I'm going to give Daisy an email property that's valid. Actually, let's make her email nil as well. We have two people that have nil emails, one person that has an email, and we do people with nil emails equals to that, and then I'm going to put out that resulting value. And we want to call find all under 60. And this method should be renamed, but no problem. Cool, we'll run it. Now we see we filtered out the people with no emails, right? And that's what I'm putting out here. And then assuming we were connected to a database, we would iterate over that array using the each method, because we don't care about any return values now, because all we want to do is just delete that person from the database. And there's like a method, we don't have a method right now called delete from DB, but assuming that we were working with a database and there was a method called delete from DB, then we would call person.delete from DB.
Or even if you didn't want to delete them, if you just wanted to throw them in a different database so you could query that later,
right?
Or you had a separate array that you could query.
Email, or person.call for email or something like that.
Right.
And you can contact that person, call them for their email, so you can actually add their email to the database.
Right. Okay.
Good question. Cool. All right, now let's go over the final one, map and collect. Now, map and collect are different. They're not a search enumerator, and they're neither Boolean enumerators. What they do is they transform an existing array into a new one. So let's drop into IRB. And let's create my array. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Now we're going to call my array dot map num. And what map does is it creates a brand new array where each element in that array is going to be whatever the return value is inside your block. So if I do num times 2, then the new array that I get back is each original element multiplied by 2. It doesn't modify the original array, though. So that's one thing about map is, again, whatever you return inside the block of that enumerator will get inserted in the new array. Now, if I were to return just the string hello, you're going to get a 4-element array of the string hello, because that's what I returned inside that block. So that's one thing about map is you're always going to get the same number of elements that you passed into map, It's always going to be equal. I have 4 elements here. I have 4 elements here. I have 4 elements here. The main difference is whatever you return inside that block will be inserted in that particular index of the new array.
So is there a way to, instead of replacing with what you want to put there, just add it to it? So that it would be like a hash, like the other one, like a multiple field hash?
So to
Like-
have an array that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then
Right. So basically what you do there is it would end up being, 1 hello, 2 hello, 3 hello, 4 hello.
yeah, I see what you're saying. What you could do is myArray.map, and then you would interpolate num and do something like that. Because now you're grabbing the whatever that value is and adding it in the whatever the return value is.
Perfect.
Good questions. And map and collect do the exact same thing. I'm not sure why they created. I think map came first, and then they created collect, but they do the exact same thing. So you can use one or the other. JavaScript uses map, so I guess if you want to just get familiar with, the JavaScript version, use map, so you're consistent all around. Collect would do the same thing. So if we go back to our people example, so let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. And we have our people array. And let's say that I just wanted an array of each person's name. That's all I wanted, right? So how would I write the collect here?
Would you want to create a new array using a variable like we did on the last example, or just
we don't have
pulling
to.
it out?
Yeah, we don't have to. So I would do something like people.map. We're going to do a do person. And remember, because map returns an array, a new array with whatever you return inside, what would I return inside?
It would be, wouldn't it just be name? Like, wouldn't you just be calling the name?
Yep, so we do person name. And if we were to put people names, exit. There we go. So now we have an array with just their names, because that's what I returned inside the map.
What is that? And the array is now people's names?
Yeah, that's what the method returns. So the method returns an array of the people's names. Actually, we can probably drop this into IRB as well. Now we have people, which is an array of hashes. If we do people.map person, and we're going to return person name.
You don't have to do the do when you're in IRB?
Yeah, normally you don't. If you do these curly braces, curly braces act as your do end.
Okay.
So sometimes if I'm in IRB, because, you could essentially do this here where you have multi-line do, and we have person, and you do enter, and you do person name, enter, then you end it, then it's still the same effect. Okay. Yeah. But because I just like to do one-liners, you do the curly braces. But yeah, this is the map does, again, you're returning that person's name. But let's say that I wanted to do an array of each person's name, but all capitalized, right? So then what I do is people.map person.name dot uppercase. Because I've transformed the inner return value of the block, that new array is going to have each of those values with the newly transformed.
But this one, is it creating a separate array?
It is.
Or is it just pushing that out there? Because if you called people, what is people now? Right.
It's still
so
that
it's still the same.
Exactly.
But then what would it be? What is the name of the array for the upcase, for example?
It's yeah. If you wanted to actually save that value somewhere, then you would need to do something like upcased. Actually, let me do this.
You'd have to create a method, right?
Or a variable.
Okay.
Yeah. So dot upcase. So then it would be all cap names is equal to that value. So now if
then you can call all caps name and it's a separate array.
Exactly.
Got it. Cool.
People is still the array of hashes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Good questions. Cool. Awesome. What other questions? Those were all the enumerators I wanted to cover. So what you will see sometimes is, let's say I wanted all the objects. You will see sometimes people will use map for the wrong thing. So let's say that I wanted, again, all people under 60, all under, actually, 70, again. I wanted all the people that are under age 70. Now let's do 60. Then they do people.map, and then they do something like if person age is less than 60, then return that person. And you'll see something like that. However, if we were to put all under 60, you'll see that, we don't see it here, but one of these is a nil value in the array. Normally, if you put nil, it doesn't show. So actually, let me do this. We'll drop into IRB again, and let's take this, copy that entire method into IRB, and then let's call it. We can see here we have a nil value. And that's because we're calling map. So map is going through each item in the people array. And in that first item, person age is not less than 70, so we don't return that person. So by default, we return nil. So that's one problem with using map for this use case, is you're going to have some nil values. So that's why the appropriate enumerator is select, because that filters certain objects out, whereas map will give you an array in length equivalent to whatever you pass in. So it's knowing the right enumerable to use for the right purpose. So if I were to change that to select, go back into IRB, copy that again, and then call the method. Now we just have a 2-element array. We don't have that nil value. If we call dot size, it's just 2. Whereas if I had it before using map, so we have that nil value there. We call dot size, it's 3. Even though only 2 of these folks are under 60, because I called map, it's going to still include that other element in there, but add nil in place of that, because that person is not under 60.
Does collect also include the nil?
collect will also include the nil.
Is there any? So on collect, is collect like a Ruby version specific deal?
Yeah, collect
Where-
is
or
in
like map?
JavaScript. Map is though. So yeah, I don't know why they created collect after the fact. Maybe just because it sounds like, from a Ruby standpoint, it sounds a lot better than map, because that's what you're doing. You're collecting instances, and you're creating a new array. Whereas map, it's kind of like you're not sure what map does, And I guess that's why they created collect, because it sounds a little more Ruby-esque. All the other methods, select, detect, it's pretty clear what those methods do. Whereas map, you're not really sure what map does. But collect, it's pretty clear. You're collecting, new elements and creating a new array. So, yeah, I mean, the only other way you would be able to use this is calling dot compact at the end of that enumerator, because compact strips all the nil values from the array. So if I change that by adding compact at the end, then I just have a 2-element array. That's kind of like a hacky way. Better off just using select, because that already filters out any elements that don't meet that criteria. Yeah.
What was the reason for the second person under if person age is less than 60?
Because this actually returns that object or that hash as the new value.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Got it.
and actually with select, you don't even need that. We were only doing that with collect. With select, if this evaluates to true, then this entire hash will get included in the new array. So with select, we don't need it. With collect, we do. Yeah. Size is still 2. Yeah, when it was collect, we needed that return value. Because if we didn't return that, then it'll just be a bunch of nils. A 3-element array of nil, because we're not returning anything. We return hello, then again, collect will just give us a 3-element array of hello. And actually, it's hello because only 2 of these meet that criteria of being under 60. So when those were true, we returned hello for those cases. But the other one where it wasn't less than 60, nil was inserted as the new element. So that's a pretty interesting use case. Cool. All right. What other questions can I ask before I let you go enjoy your nights?
Thanks for your time.
Not a problem, guys. And if you need to get a hold of me for whatever reason, just reach out to me on Slack. Slack is the easiest way to get a hold of me, and it's just CernNB. And yeah, if no other questions, I will see you all next Tuesday night. Take care, guys.
Cheers.